Hey, all. Today we are going to talk some more about solving equations. And so far we've solved multi-step equations, we have solved proportions, and today we're going to look at some equations that have special types of solutions. They're called special cases. And so my first type of equation is one that has infinite solutions. That means any number can be used as a solution to our equation. That means, for example, for our first problem, we could plug any number into P and our equation would work. That means this stuff on the left side and this stuff on the right side would end up being equal. Another way to say that would be that our solutions are all real numbers. So those are two ways when we have this special case to answer the problem. We can either say infinite solutions or all real numbers. And let me show you what happens. So of course, we always want to solve equations using the same methods. We always will want to distribute if there's distributing. We'll always want to combine any like terms on the same side if that exists. And then we want to start moving things around so that we have the letters on one side and the numbers on the other. And so I am going to put my letters on the left, as I always do, and my numbers on the right with no letters, as I always do. And remember, when you switch sides of the equal sign, you switch the sign of that term. So I have a negative 7p that didn't move. And when I move this negative 7p, it becomes plus 7p. I have a positive 3 that didn't move. And when I move this positive 3, it becomes a negative 3. And so now I can combine these. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. And 3 minus 3 is also 0. And when I have this 0 here next to the p, I actually don't need the p. I can just say 0 equals 0. If we are solving an equation and we get to the end and both sides of the equation are the same thing, like 0 equals 0, that means we have infinite solutions, or our solution is all real numbers. So I could write either of those. I do believe that when you're doing practice and you look at the answer key, it's going to say all real numbers. That means that if we started out here and we plugged in any number for P on both sides of the equation, both sides of the equation will balance out and will be equal. And so that means it works. So there's not just one answer here. There's an infinite number of answers. And so we would write all real numbers or infinite solutions. Same thing over here. I'm looking to distribute, which we don't have. I'm going to combine like terms, which we do have. I have a negative x and a positive 7x. I can combine those, and that will give me positive 6x. And so I'm looking here, and I have the same thing on both sides, 6x equals 6x. If I don't recognize quite yet that I have an infinite solution situation, well, I can move this 6x over here. And so I have that 6x that was positive. This becomes minus 6x. And then there's nothing left on the right side. And so when there's nothing left, I write 0. 6x minus 6x is 0. And here we go again. We have 0 equals 0. And so this is a case where I have all real numbers as my solution. So if you get to a situation like this, it might be scary. It might make you think, oh, I must have done something wrong. But no, you didn't. That just means you have an equation that is a special case, and it's okay. The other special case is when we don't have any solutions. That means we can't plug any numbers in for x to make these equations work. These equations just always going to be false. Again, we follow the same procedures. We'll distribute if we have to. We'll combine like terms if they exist on the same side of the equation, and then we'll move stuff around. So I'm going to move this minus 4x over here, and I'm going to move this positive 4 over here. And so we have the original minus 4x, and when that minus 4x moves, it becomes positive 4x. I have my positive 2, and when the positive 4 moves, it becomes minus 4. When I do minus 4x plus 4x, I get 0. And when I do 2 minus 4, I get negative 2. And now I end up with something with no variables, no letters. That's okay. But it says 0 equals negative 2. And we know that that just isn't true. And so there's nothing we can do further here to solve and get x equal to something. And 0 is not equal to negative 2. It doesn't look like we had on the first page. And so that means there is no solution to this equation. So it might scare you off because you think this doesn't make any sense, but it's good to check to make sure you haven't made a mistake. And if you haven't, that means you just have an equation that doesn't have a solution. There's no number we can plug in for x that will allow this equation to be correct. So let me do one more. I don't have any distributing. I don't have any like terms on the same side. So I'm just going to start by moving my letters to the left. I like to move my letters to the left and my constants to the right. And so I have this negative 5x that we started with on the left, and this minus 5x becomes positive because it switched sides. I have my 12 that I started with, and I didn't move, and then this positive 6 switched sides, so it becomes negative 6. And so over here, when I put those together, I get 0. And when I put 12 minus 6, I get 6. And here we go again. We have a scenario where I say 0 equals 6, and we just know that that is not true. And so my work is correct. I haven't made any mistakes. And so that means we have an equation with no solution. So two special cases, one where you have an infinite number of answers. You can plug anything in for x and it'll make the problem work. That's when we have a solution of all real numbers. And then these ones here where we get down to the end and we have some two numbers that are not equal and it says they are equal. And so that means that there is no solution to our problem. So as ever, please make sure that if you need help, you ask for it. Make sure you watch all the way to the end of this video so that you can answer the questions and get full credit. If you need help, ask. Good luck.